Hello everybody, welcome to Planet FPL Game Week 31 Deadline stream, and it's live. We are around about an hour away to the Game Week 31 Deadline. Please get your questions in the chat. I'll answer as many of them as I can up until deadline, obviously. Please do have a look at the graphics on the screen first. It may well be that the answer to your question is already on the screen. We'd like to avoid as many repeat questions as possible. So I'm on wildcard. It's activated for those who listened to the podcast this morning and sent feedback. Thanks very much for that. Much appreciated. The team is exactly the same. I said I wouldn't be put off by anything unless there was some team news that spooked me, and nothing has spooked me. Therefore, my team is as per that podcast this morning. I am Bernd Leno in goal. Fraser Forster, my sub-goalkeeper. Back three of Nat Phillips, Ruben Diaz, Antonio Rudiger, Fofana and Reguilon, respectively, second and third subs. Mohamed Salah is in as my captain, with Diogo Jota. Heung-min Son is in. Jesse Lingard is in. Rafinha is first substitute for me this game week. Up front, Harry Kane, Kelechi Iheanacho and Jamie Vardy. That is my wildcard squad. There are 11 changes in total. The only players to survive are Diaz, Rafinha, Son and Kane. Below the screenshot of my team, which you'll see in the top right hand corner of the screen, are my top 10 captaincy preferences for the game week. Top pick for me would be Kevin De Bruyne, then the rested Raheem Sterling, then I am on Mo Salah, etc, etc, etc. One name you'll notice absent from that list is Sergio Aguero, who I know is likely to be popular for a number of people this week. I just don't see it. I don't see where he plays more than an hour, to be honest. I think his fitness is so far off at the moment. And I can see Jesus playing up front. I wouldn't be surprised if Aguero doesn't play at all. But that's me guessing the pep roulette like everybody else tries to do, right? Below me, you'll see benching dilemmas for the week. There are 5 pages worth of benching dilemmas. If you see, for example, Cresswell and Shaw, you'll see a tick next to Aaron Cresswell above Luke Shaw, for example. First 4 pages are all outfield players. Page 5 is some benching dilemmas for goalkeepers. To the left of the screen, you'll see my correct score predictions for all 10 games this weekend. And the bottom grey bar at the bottom has a list of all 20 teams' next 5 fixtures. As ever, shout out to my man FPL Captain. You'll see above the singular live graphic. He's the man behind the graphics. Give him a follow on Twitter. That is FPL Captain with a K. Right, I think that's all the house rules done. Looks very, very popular in the chat, which is really pleasing to see. Let's get into those cues, guys. Let's see who's up first this evening. We've got S. Rosson. Hi, James. Hope you're well on wildcard and can only afford Sanchez, goalkeeper, and Forster if I want Trent Alexander-Arnold. Main 3, TAA, Rudiger, Diaz with Veltman and holding sub. Is TAA worth the goalkeeper sacrifice? And Keenan Davis, third sub. Well, to be honest, I can't answer that because the first thing I'd want to ask back is how many Man City and how many Tottenham players. And there's no point putting it in the chat because by the time I get to you again, I'm never going to remember your original question. But if you're carrying Keenan Davis to game week 33 and you're thinking of having 3 Tottenham players in game week 32, you potentially got a problem. Unless you want to sell one of those Spurs players, which you might not because we've got Sheffield United at home in game week 34. Do I think TAA is worth the extra over, say, Nat Phillips? No. I don't. Will TAA score more points than Nat Phillips between now and the end of the season? I would think almost definitely. Is it worth the extra 3.3 million or whatever it is? I don't think it particularly is, to be honest. Although the goalkeeper pairing's fine, right? If you want to save the money, all I'd say is there are mid-price goalkeepers like Leno, Mendy, who have really good fixtures. Even I think Kasper Schmeichel's 5'4", Hugo Lloris is 5'6". These guys all have great fixtures. I can't say I've looked at what the rotation is for Sanchez or Forster because all I'd ever looked with them was that they were going to be the understudy to a Lloris, or eventually I've obviously gone with Bernd Leno in goal from Arsenal. But if you think the rotation works for you and it's worth the saving, by all means do it. But I'm not sure you want to make that sacrifice for one player. Think of it like this. The extra of TAA, what are you losing out on the goalkeeper points potentially? Jeremy Kalud says third sub, Mitchell or Kilman, Soufal or Masuaku second. Mitchell or Kilman as third sub. I've seen a few people suggest Kilman might come into the Wolves team tonight if they go to a back three, which is possible with Willy Bolly still likely to be out. I don't think they will, personally. Mitchell is fit again for Palace. The answer to your question is I don't think it matters, but considering the fixture, unless you're asking me for a wild card opinion, if it's actually for wild card, I prefer to go Mitchell. Just because the potential of a Palace double in the future and he might regain his spot by that point. You never know your luck. In terms of Sufel and Masuaku, I'd prefer Masuaku slightly. A little bit cheaper. Possibly going to play left midfield for the majority of the rest of the season. I would prefer to go for Masuaku. Daniel McAdam says, why all the talk about saving chips for a final week with fans? Won't the presence of fans motivate both home and away, making the FPL points similar to any other week? I'm not sure I understand your question, Daniel. Saving the chips is potentially in cases blanks or doubles for those who've still got a bench boost or and the like. That's the idea behind those who perhaps want to save the wild card. I don't see whether fans there or not's got any difference. We're talking about the possibility of double and blank game weeks. Edwin Guan says, why Lingardinho? Other options around the same price. Good luck, James, and big up FPL captain. It's quite simple. Man is absolutely on fire and in massive form. They also look at him and Rafinha fall into the same category for me in terms of their fixtures get better the closer we get towards the end of the season. West Ham have a great final five. Leeds have a great final five. Lingard's form I don't think should be ignored. Now, there's every case that obviously with Antonio, and it's rumoured, I know David Moyes said probably won't make the weekend. We've heard rumours today that his season might be over. If that's the case, we don't know the impact on Jesse Lingard yet. But I couldn't get up to Maddison. I could have, to be honest. I could have gone Masuaku at the back and then gone Maddison. But then I would have been going 3 Leicester attackers. I'm not sure I wanted to end up in that position particularly. So look, he's in form. Lingard's another one who's missing off the captaincy top 10s for me. And I know there's plenty of people out there going to captain Jesse Lingard this week. FPL Invincible says, afternoon James, play one of Cresswell, Watkins or Rafinha. All three of them, my friend, are on the benching dilemmas screen. But to answer your question, you probably know what I'm going to say. Yep, it's Liverpool away. I'm still going to pick the forward, Ollie Watkins. And he is preferential on the benching dilemma screen. The one and only Lee, HHHH. How do you think the United Spurs game plays out? Tactical preview. Briefly, I think United will smash the fucking shit out of us. I really think United could beat us. Discussing this on a Patreon pod today. I've backed United to win 3-1. I said to Suj, wouldn't be surprised if it's 4-1. I think it might hinge a lot on where they play Pogba. I don't like him in the deep double pivot, but I think for this game, if they play him now and they have Fernandes, Rashford, Greenwood and Cavani ahead of that, I just think it'd be way too much for us. We can't defend. I just think they'll have way too much for us, personally. So I think that's probably the key, is where Pogba plays. In terms of how Tottenham set up, I do not know what that prick in charge of my team is going to do anymore. 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, I'd like to see him try. 4-4-2, I don't, could he go 3 at the back, over back 5? I don't know what he's going to do. I don't think he knows what he's going to do. He's just throwing darts at a dartboard and hoping that they stick and don't fall back out at the moment. Lewis Cole says, hi James, Iheanacho and Smith Rowe versus Vidra and Saka. I would prefer the Iheanacho combination. You'll find with Smith Rowe you're going to be happy to bench him most game weeks. They have a decent fixture at home to Everton in 33. There's nice space in between Arsenal's Fulham fixture, Everton and a potential Europa League semi-final should they make it. So they should go full strength against Everton. So Smith Rowe for me, because I think there's more in it for Iheanacho than Vidra. Vidra this week between the two, yeah. I mean, if I was free hitting this week, I'd probably go Mateo Vidra. And had I not gone Iheanacho, I probably would have gone Vidra and instead of Lingard powered into a bigger price midfielder and done similar defensively. Didn't think it was worth it. Come next week, you'll definitely be thinking Iheanacho rather than Vidra. Rowan S says, greetings James, couple of questions, play 2 out of Reece James, Holding, Ricardo Pereira and Vidra. Also, let's do that one first. So play 2 out of Reece James, Holding, Ricardo Pereira and Vidra. Well, I don't think Ricardo Pereira will start. I would play Reece James and Vidra and I would have Holding as the first sub afterwards. Also, on a 1 week punt, who is the better captain, KDB or Raz? You'll know, my friend, the answer to that is on the screen. KDB first, Raz second. The one and only Lee says Holding off for Fana this week. Holding, just. I mean, they're playing Sheffield United. I'm actually backing them to score against Arsenal, which is why I know some people might think Holding on the benching dilemmas is lower than they perhaps would maybe expect. But I'm backing Sheffield United to score. And Suj tips on the Patreon pod earlier. He reckons Sheffield United might beat them, actually. But I think holding. I think there's a good chance they'll both concede. There's far more chance of holding keep the clean sheet. The two players you're not expecting attacking returns from. Joe Gifford says, hi James, should I be worried about not owning Bruno this weekend? Well, I am not, and I'm not worried. Hunch on 1 week punt, Aubameyang versus Sheffield United, but unsure if it's worth the risk. Otherwise I would punt on Saka, Pepe for Son. Not as appealing. I can't be dealing with Aubameyang in FPL at the moment at his price. It just killed too many other avenues. Great. I could have gone Aubameyang instead of Salah and then got Fofana up to Ricardo Pereira. Big whoop. No. I think Aubameyang probably starts, and I think he starts through the middle, which should be note of caution for anyone who's on Lacazette, in my opinion. I think they need to get Aubameyang back through the middle to get him back happy and doing what he's good at, personally. And the full firing Aubameyang is a better centre forward than Lacazette. Worried about not owning Bruno. I ain't got Sterling, I ain't got De Bruyne, I haven't got any Manchester City attackers. You cannot have anybody. I do not worry about these things. Jonathan Albert, Pereira or Castagna. I would prefer Pereira. However, I think there's a good chance that Pereira might not start this weekend as he recovers from fitness. I do expect him to return to the team by the time the West Bromwich Albion game comes around in 32. I think Pereira will probably play the FA Cup semi-final against Southampton before that as well. So as long as you've got the cover this week, and West Ham away is a tough game anyway, my preference would be Pereira. Liam McNamara says, hi mate, 1 week punt, pick 2. Aubameyang, Sterling, Ings, Jesus. Ings and Jesus. Oh no, I'll go Sterling actually. Sterling and Jesus, then Ings. Honestly, in that order. Sterling, Jesus, Ings, Aubameyang. Ben Rosario says, hi James, I have Martinez and Areola as my 2 goalkeepers. I don't think Villa will keep a clean sheet. Should I start Areola or replace Martinez, and if so, with whom? That's a comment based out of fear on the ownership, I think, where you think, oh, if he gets it, so many other people have got him. You know, look on the positive, if you drop him and other people keep him, you're saying yourself you don't expect him to keep a clean sheet. Do you expect Fulham to keep a clean sheet? If you're really, really confident that Wolves definitely get goals tonight, I'd still stick with Martinez because of the save point potential. But I think between the two, you'd go Areola, wouldn't you? I've got Areola above Martinez on the bench in dilemmas. Neil Thompson says, evening James, good luck on your wildcard, thank you. I'm left with just 3 hit at the moment and have 7 Spurs, City, Saints at the moment. Should I start dismantling or can I use 3 hit 33? Could have 4 free transfers and a couple of hits. I don't know how you're going to get the 4 free transfers in one go, but I see what you're saying, you're building to get rid of them. But you don't, right? You don't want to get rid of the Spurs players. I don't quite think this is the week to get rid of the City players unless you're really confident that they're not going to play. 3 hit 33 sounds like the best solution for you, Neil, and hopefully before it comes round we'll have a little bit of a better idea of what could happen with the blanks and doubles 35, 36, 37, which we'll certainly detail on the podcast following the FA Cup semi-finals, to at least say, okay, if this happens, these will be the games. If this happens, these will be the games. We will at least have a slightly better idea of what that looks like. For example, if City would play in a blank week or a double, could be really important to you, Neil. So I wouldn't book yourself into thinking definitely one way or the other. If you can escape some of them, do. But honestly, it's not the right time for Spurs ahead of their 32 double. Bataser says, hi, thoughts on Aubameyang captain? Next question. Ryan, Fofana, Lowton and Aspi or Diaz, Rudiger, Soufal, keep up the good work. I would prefer to keep Diaz personally, as I have, and I think that's the clincher for me. Would be to go Diaz, Rudiger, Soufal. Actually, not a lot in that though. Good question. The one and only Lee, Sterling is a 1 to 2 week punt, hoping that Pep wants a similar lineup second leg versus Dortmund. Yeah, we hope, we assume. We were assuming that Sterling definitely plays. We've forgotten that Sterling missed 3 games in a row before the international break. I'm sure Sterling probably will play, but just be aware of it. Thank you very much, Neil Thompson, for your feedback on this morning's podcast. Appreciate that, mate. FPL telling Josh, afternoon, James, your thoughts on Jesus for a 1 week punt before wildcard 32 next week. That's an interesting way of playing it. Yeah, I'm all for that. I genuinely prefer to go Jesus on a 1 week punt and Aguero. I think Jesus plays. My instinct is Aguero doesn't start. And I think at the moment Jesus is closer to City's first choice 11 than Aguero. I really do. I think Aguero, in terms of big games for City, we're looking at him in terms of at the end of the game as a predatory player when they're dominating the ball and they're desperate for a goal. That's what we're looking at now. I think Jesus probably starts tomorrow as a 1 week punt. I don't mind that at all, especially if you can wildcard away. A little bit like what I did with Werner last week. Don't like the player, great fixture, fancy it, okay, good, I can wildcard straight off it. Because Gabriel Jesus will drive you insane. And he's one of, I had probably only considered 5 or 6 forwards for my wild card, honestly. I was so clear about what I wanted to do with the 2 Leicester players and Kane. I didn't consider much else. But I did consider Jesus as an alternative to Vardy. It just frustrated the life out of me, mate. FPL Dougal says, Good Arvo Jimbo, I'm on wildcard and fancy a 1 week midfield punt under 7 million for this game week before I bring in Maddison. It would involve benching Son though. Any recommendations? Yeah, play Son. Despite what I'm saying about expect Spurs to get well beat, I could be completely wrong. Mourinho might come up with a tactical masterclass. Spurs might play really well on a counter-attack and win 2-0 or something. Let's remember we got 6 goals the last time we played Manchester United. That's obviously not going to happen again. But if Spurs do well, Son will do well. The two just go hand in hand a little bit. So the honest answer to your question, my friend, is play Son. It's honestly what I'd say. So if you're on the wild card, I would just go with Maddison. And I would bench Maddison. And I think you're part doing that too, because you're probably in the same state of mind as me as I don't think Maddison starts this week. And I thought that even before Brendan Rodgers' comments today, and that kind of just confirmed it for me. He's not 100%. They're going to ease him in. They did that with him before. I think it would just go Maddison. And then you've got the FA Cup semi-final for another game for him to build up fitness. And then you think with the fixtures they've got, then he comes back in, no problems. So I would just go Son and Maddison, and I'd play Son, mate. Tiffy Ferreira, hi James, did you eat strawberry today? I love them. We'll make juice of them. Come to drink. Not big on strawberries, to be honest. Nah, really not big. Stian Bosdale, I have Dean. Should I play him over Phillips of Liverpool or just sell Dean for a hit to Pereira? Best of luck for the weekend, mate. No, listen, you're already on like a minus 12 or 16. Stop. Put your phone down now, my friend. Don't do anything else. In terms of Phillips over Dean, I think Villa will probably score. But I don't think Everton will score. But it's the possibility and the capability of Dean. What's the best case for Phillips? 6 points, which is great at 4 million. And we all love having that sort of player. And it's part why I've got him as well. But I wouldn't expect anything more than 6 off him. A really good day for Luca Dean. You know it can be in the double points. So I think the honest answer is it's probably play Dean. But I bet if you do it, it'll be the last time you do it. Theodore says, Hi James, which combo do you prefer? Neto and Region or Lingard and Cody? Both Cody and Region would be benched. Honestly, Lingard and Cody, mate. Lemichi says, Hi James, final wildcard dilemma. Sterling and Regulon. Play Holding in 32 and move to TAA in 33. Or Torres and TAA. We'll move City players to Son in 32, or should just start with Son. I'm not big on anyone who's leaving Son out and planning to go to him next week. What happens when you've got different problems? Honestly, I just go Son. It's Man United. I'm not playing fucking Brazil 1970. The man can return. He's done it against United before. If you want Son next week, honestly, I would just get him now. If you're on the wild card, I would just get him now. What is he? Third highest scoring midfielder in the game? Just go with him. Zaris says, do you think Bale and Sanchez will play? I presume that's Davinson. Thoughts of Chris Wood for a 1 week punt? Greetings from Greece. You make my weekend better. Greetings from Greece. Thank you, Zaris. Bale, no chance. I said 60% last week. This week I wouldn't even say 6% on Gareth Bale starting. I warned this time last week that if you're going, probably keep this week. He did only get on the pitch because Tottenham needed a goal. I'm not sure there's any circumstance where Bale would even get on the pitch this week, actually. Unless we're getting absolutely slaughtered or absolutely smashing them. So Bale's a definite move on. No, I don't think he played. Davinson Sanchez, he could lose his spot to Alderweireld. He was awful at Newcastle. He's frustrating and inconsistent. He has a brilliant 10 minutes and a bad 10 minutes. That's Dave every single week. I would say, if you're asking me, yes, Sanchez probably plays. Bale, no. Thoughts on Chris Wood as a 1 week punt? Yeah, decent. Look, they've got Newcastle at home. Any forward playing against Newcastle is arguably a decent 1 week punt, bar perhaps Sheffield United players in game week 37. Well, Stamos, I am at a point where I just maybe flip coin, start Watkins or Bamford. I guess I'm just copying your advice of Watkins. Really feel like coin flip whole week. Yeah, I'd just edge for Watkins actually of the two. You've got to consider it and go. You're probably looking at it and going, well, Leeds better offensively than Villa. I'm not arguing that. But in terms of actually scoring a goal, let's remember Liverpool haven't won at home for 4 months. So they need to get the monkey off their back. And the longer they go without scoring, the more nervous they'll be. If Villa score tomorrow, Watkins is the clear favourite to do it, in my opinion. Whereas with Leeds, you've got other players. Roberts, Helder Costa, I think, will play tomorrow. Rafinha, obviously. So Watkins. Toadman, for the next 3 games, would you pick Iheanacho or would Iheanacho? Alistair Coper, hi James, would you play Vestergaard or Shaw? Thanks. Good luck with the wild card. When I'm predicting both to concede 1, I'd possibly go Vestergaard, though, because as I spoke about in our Patreon pod today, I think it would probably be a draw. But if the results go badly for West Brom at the weekend, i.e. Fulham tonight and Newcastle on Sunday do quite well, psychologically it might damage them ahead of the game where they feel like the Chelsea result got them close. But then because the other teams have done, say Newcastle picked up 4 points in between, would be a real psychological blow for them. So I think if Southampton score early, they could win that game very comfortably. So just edge for Vestergaard. I do think Tottenham will score on Sunday. I always fancy us to score because we've got Harry Kane. Shifo says, hi James, thoughts on Laka captain? My thoughts are, Shifo, that there's every chance he won't even start. I wouldn't do that. Listen, Lacazette, Aubameyang, brilliant punts if it works out, very easily 1-pointers. Daniel McAdams, okay, real FPL question. Alonso captain last week and he hit 2 posts while playing with 10 men. Talk me out of captain him again, please. Vice captain on Cancelo. Change of vice captain, please. Please change of vice captain. Because you're very easily looking at 0-0 there, mate. Please just put your vice captain on anybody that you know is going to start. And if that's the case, I won't talk you out of Alonso. I fancied him for a clean sheet this weekend. I know Chilwell's kind of looks like he's leapt ahead of him now in terms of favouritism, which makes you think Alonso will play weaker games like this. But also consider the one thing Palace have in attack is pace. I'm not sure that Thomas Tuchel wants Alonso up against that. So for me, it would be a no. But if you really fancy it, just please change your vice captain to someone other than Cancelo, not a Manchester City player. Sam Bidder says, for players with bench boost remaining, how do you suggest choosing a wildcard team with this in mind? The honest answer to that would have been, I'd say don't wildcard. I would have waited. It's one ship I probably would have waited. Definitely if I had free hit and bench boost. If you don't have free hit, then I'd say, okay, you're fine, get it. Best week to bench boost, honestly, it could fall absolutely brilliantly for game week 37, where depending on how the fixtures move, and I can't tell you what's going to happen because it's up to the government, the Premier League and FPL in terms of if they move the dates in the game or not. I've got no clue. But there is a possibility, obviously, that game week 37 could have 12 teams double. It could also have none. Now, if 37 works out that way, that's the answer. But I would strongly have a look at the idea of bench boosting in game week 32, actually. I would look at that now. Can you set up for that? Leicester at home to West Brom. Wolves. Could you go a double Wolves defensive at home to Sheffield United? West Ham have got Newcastle. There's some good Arsenal, cheap Arsenal players. Fulham next week. You could go for Arsenal, West Ham, Wolves blanket defence. Yeah, I'm saying that. Leicester as well, maybe. And you could get some real power in there for next week. Great fixtures. United have got Burnley. Liverpool have got Leeds. City have got Villa. Tottenham have got the double. I'd look at next week. Honestly, I would look at next week to bench boost, possibly. I think if you set it up properly, you'll look at it and go, that's amazing. Clear teams to avoid if you want to do that next week. West Brom, you're not going to go near. It probably means going no Leeds and you come back for a Rafinha or something like that later on. Burnley, Brighton, Villa, definite avoids. Probably avoid Everton. Probably avoid Southampton. And you're not going to go in Newcastle anyway. So the teams you want to avoid and teams you probably didn't want on the wild card anyway, have a strong look at 32, honestly. As he says, apart from Pedro Neto, who do you think is the current best Wolves asset? If I was going to get one, it would have been Connor Cody. He was close. Connor Cody was very close to me. One of the regrets after the pod this morning was we didn't actually talk about Wolves much, and I did want to. Bradley Parker's words in midweek, like he's our Wolves correspondent. So if you get any Wolves defensive players, you're mad. It's okay. I've got to listen to that, Bradley. And you look at the 5 midfielders I've got with Rafinha sitting first on the bench, and I go, is Neto better than any of them? No. So it was quite a straightforward choice for me in the end, just to go none. I wouldn't get clever with it. I think there's a possibility that Podence might play as a false 9 if they stay with a back 4 in some upcoming games, but he's short of fitness, wouldn't go near Traore. To be honest, you'd be just as well off going Ruben Neves because he's on fucking penalties. Stian Bosdale says, like the stream or Suj will send a snail for you. Yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, do hit the like button. Doesn't cost anything. Does help improve the channel and get the message out there to people, so they tell me. Give the old channel a subscribe while you're there as well. Dylan Farrell says, hi James, best of luck this weekend, mate. Like the wildcard team. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Andrej Yames says, hi James, if you were to go with one Chelsea fullback, which one would you choose long term? I'd probably take a chance on Reece James, but I can see 1 pointers in there. It's price effective on that as well. Brandon Madrano, I presume we're not classifying Azpilicueta as a fullback at the moment, otherwise him. Brandon Madrano says, what do you think about Maitland-Niles on wildcard? OOP, West Brom. When are you going to start him? Got mad fixtures. Genuinely, when would you start him over any other defender? That's the first question I'd ask back. So for me, it would be a no. Savanch Singh says, thoughts on Greenwood on wildcard? Don't mind it. I think the Martial injury adds to the appeal of Cavani and Greenwood, definitely. I don't mind it. I owned him very briefly before my first wildcard, and it definitely didn't work out for me. But you got to think he's part of that first choice United team now. I don't mind that. As an alternative. Tom Johnson says, hi James, currently on wildcard, but still have bench boost left. Do you think bench boost game week 32 is the best strategy? And if so, which fixtures teams should you prioritise for it? Tom, you hopefully will love what I said about 2 minutes ago. Thank you, mate. You got a good plan there, mate. Joe Philly Bader says, see, you've gone Leno over Mendy. What do you mean? You didn't listen to the podcast earlier, pal? Still torn between them, but having Holding already is making me lean towards the Chelsea man. Thoughts? Yeah, I don't think I'd want the 2 Arsenal. You can do it either way, right? Like, I could very easily have gone Mendy and then gone Holding. The thing for me was, because I don't have a free hit or anything, Holding is a great choice now. I'm not sure he's a great choice come game week 34, game week 35, when I will still want to use him when Arsenal play Newcastle, West Brom, when David Luiz comes back. So I was looking ahead there and going, I can see the problem as and when David Luiz is fit. That's why I've gone that way personally, Joe. Patrick Donnelly says, hi James, do you think it's worth triple captaining Harry Kane in double game week 32, as it is likely he'll be heavily captained anyways? If you still got the chip, mate, don't overthink it. Just stick it on Harry in 32. On this morning's podcast, which you don't have to listen to back now, you can listen to it afterwards, but we did cover a little bit about what potential doubles could be to come in sort of game week 35 if fixtures get moved there. And there are nothing particularly brilliant in 36, 37. There is a small possibility that if 37 becomes a large double, that Liverpool would have West Brom away and Burnley away, and that would be the standout one there. Kane would have Wolves at home and Villa at home. I don't think that's any better than what Tottenham have got now. Wolves and Villa don't get done for plenty of goals, whereas look, Tottenham scored 4 at Goodison Park and 5 at St Mary's earlier this season, in different competitions, obviously. So Kane would be 32. I mean, if that Salah was to work out as a possibility for 37 double, then it's obviously absolutely brilliant. Be gold, wouldn't it? But you need to get a lot of pieces have to fit into a puzzle to get there. Honestly, I would just use it on Kane in 32. Savanch says, thoughts on Aubameyang 1 week captaincy instead of Sterling? Savanch, you'll know the answer to that by now, my friend. Thanks for your question. Kev KJ, sorry. Where do you rank TAA in your captaincy picks? About 20th. Alistair Coper, trying to decide between Alonso and Rudiger. Are you going Rudiger because he's more nailed or that you need the money? Thanks. It was Rudiger or Azpilicueta for me, not Alonso. I have no interest in Alonso personally. I know what it can be if he plays, great. I can't deal with that headache. I need a Chelsea player as it stands that's going to play in game week 33. Is he going to play Alonso away to West Ham? That's what it's about, more than the money. And Rudiger's there over Azpilicueta because of the money, yes. Pete Haley says, hi James, who to bench this week out? Iheanacho, Vardy, Son or Lingard? Cheers. Woohoo! You picked a good one there, mate. The answer to that is Lingard. Benching dilemmas, mate. You know I'm not going to put the forwards there. NJ says, is Son a must-have next week, James? NJ, no one is a must-have any week ever, mate. Including Kane. But saying you have to have Kane next week. Well, most of us probably will. But if you go against and Kane goes off injured after 5 minutes in game 1 and finished the game week on 1 point, then it wasn't a must-have, was he? General Vox, Alonso, worth a punt and wildcard if bench is solid. Factor in 33. What I said though. Do you need it in 33? It's a no for me. Aaron Palace says, non-FPL question. As it's WrestleMania weekend, what is your favourite all-time WrestleMania moment? Oh my God. What a question. Favourite WrestleMania moment ever? I don't know about moment. Best match, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. For me, was it 25? A really underrated one I really loved was, I was a big fan of Shawn Michaels. It was a match he had with Kurt Angle a few years earlier. Brilliant. So good. Best moment? Oh my God. I feel like it's got to be something involving The Undertaker. Maybe when The Undertaker kicked out of Sweet Chin Music and the Pedigree in the Hell in a Cell. Maybe that. Stepan Barrett says, I am not staying up till all hours to watch that this weekend. I'll just see what happened on social media. Stepan says, start Shaw or Veltman. That's a really interesting question. You'll find on my benching dilemmas that Shaw is slightly above Veltman, in spite of the fact that I'm predicting Brighton for a clean sheet, and that's partly because I'm predicting United to score 3 goals, so there's obviously the attacking threat from Shaw as well. So just Shaw, actually, but I think that's a close one. FPL Hitman on a wildcard, sub 7.3 million midfielder needed, Saka or Maddison or anyone else you think. Genuinely, I wanted to get Maddison myself. Really wanted to get Maddison. Decided I was better off going Vardy and Iheanacho. If you're only going with one of them up front, honestly, I would go Maddison. I'd just bench him this week. And then you're good to go from next week. Sonny says, hey James, want to get a West Ham defender in on wildcard. Do you think Masuaku keeps his place when their fixtures turn or just go safe with Soufal? There was a point earlier in the week where Masuaku was in for me. But a chat me and Sujad had about Ogbonna on our Tottenham Patreon podcast on Tuesday really made me think about it. I think he's great. Right? He's 4.3 million defender. What is there to lose? But actually was looking at it even further ahead. How often was I maybe going to use him? He might be the one where if I lose Rudiger in 34, I'm probably likely to buy Masuaku or Dallas, depending on the state of the rest of my squad. So I may well come back for him, actually. And that allows me to see if he's got up to fitness, right? Because he's obviously not 100% yet. But he did fine at Wolves on Monday night. FPL Warriors says, Iheanacho in for Antonio for a hit. Worth it? Question. Will otherwise be playing Dawson, Dallas, Bamford. Yes, it is. And you may not get paid off for that immediately, my friend. But you certainly will over the coming weeks. I'm fairly certain of that. So as long as you're not trying to judge it on 1 week, i.e. if you're wildcarding next week, then the answer's no. Otherwise, yeah, get it done, mate. Great value. He'll be heavily invested in this coming week as well. Kenneth Vaz says, Diaz versus Rudiger question and Lingard versus Neto for the rest of the season. Diaz and Lingard for me, my friend. El Poto, hey James, now that we saw Aaron's predicted Leicester lineup, would you go Veltman, Shaw, Ricardo, Pereira and Mitchell? I did see Aaron's predicted lineup. Aaron Lager, our Leicester correspondent. I'd already predicted the Leicester lineup for our advanced tier patrons in the team news article that I'd done. I've got Pereira in it. And we both are very similar thinking that it would not surprise if Pereira doesn't start this week. Would not surprise at all. Mark Albrighton could very easily play at right wing back, and a little bit like with Maddison, they just give him a little bit longer. I wouldn't be surprised. You have to remember Pereira had a long-term injury. and they want to be careful with him, even more so possibly than Maddison. But I think Rafinha, Pereira from them, if I was going one of them three on a wild card, I would have still been going Pereira. But you're asking Veltman, Shaw or Pereira and Mitchell. I'm not keen on Mitchell. It'd have to be Veltman and Shaw. William Jones says, hi James, thoughts on this -4? Rafinha and Antonio to Jota and Iheanacho. My thoughts are all go. Go. Get it done. Samuel Leach, afternoon. James Aguero in and captain as a 1 week punt. Question plans a wild card next week. Samuel, I'd recommend going back to listen right towards the start of the stream. In the first 5 minutes or so, I covered my thoughts on Aguero. Really not keen, mate. Lewis Browning, hi James, hope you're good. My girlfriend is top of the work league and I've been doing her team. Rafinha or Lookman in there this week. Ask your girlfriend. I would still start Rafinha, I think. Shamil Galani, my friend, any negatives for punting Aguero instead of Vardy for 1 week and swapping to Vardy next week on a wild card? Any reason why you haven't done it? Yes, as explained this morning, I massively want to roll a transfer next week to fix my problem of 33 when I'll have 4 outfield players from Manchester City and Tottenham. I don't need another one to add to that problem. So I really don't want to be making a transfer over the next 13 days or so particularly. I want to, just before 33, know what I'm doing, make the right transfer, take my time. I basically log out. I'd set my team up tonight for game week 32, and if there's no issues, I'll just log out for a couple of weeks. You know I won't. I'll be checking that it's right and stuff like the rest of you would. And Aguero covered Sham. I'm just not big on that at all. Of course, look, he could start and he can go off. I'm not even convinced that he starts. It just feels like a nostalgic thing. Has anybody actually watched Aguero in the last 12 months and thought, oh yeah, he's going to go off here? Maybe the first game against Arsenal after restart? There's been nothing since. It's based on historical. He's not the same player anymore, unfortunately. He can still do it because he's still an incredible finisher. Adam said, hi James, bench one of Holding, Shaw or Vidra. Currently playing Vidra. I would definitely play Vidra. Absolutely this week. If I'd have had Vidra on wildcard, I'd have dropped someone else this week. No doubt about it. Home to Newcastle as well. Shaw or Holding refers to benching dilemmas. Shaw for me. Murray Roach, hey James, how bonkers a captain shout is Chris Wood? I think captaining a Burnley player should probably be filed under things you should never do in FPL. Albus89 says start Shaw, Rafinha or Watkins, and which order would you bench the other two? I'd go Watkins, Rafinha, Shaw. Vish, 9.8 million to spend for 1 week before switching to Son next week. Who shall I punt on? I have Salah, Bruno, Jota and Smith Rowe already. Punt on Son, mate. Stone says Veltman or Masaraku? Masaraku for me, mate. If it's a start this week, Veltman. If you're buying one, Masaraku. Afsal says, thoughts on my wildcard draft? I'm not going through your whole draft. Thanks for your question, mate. It's too much. Ray Qureshi, we're finally here with the wildcard. James, good luck, my man. Only serious difference is I have Bruno and TAA whilst you have Vardy and Diaz. Sounds like you're winning and you've got more money than me. So have most people. Roseanne Fleur, which game does Sergio Aguero play on PlayStation 4? Option 1, Warzone. Option 2, Fall Guys. Winner gets £20. I've heard it's COD, actually, Roseanne. Claire Chur, hey, James, play Lowton or Rafinha? I'm already playing Pope. I'd go Lowton, I think. I'd go Lowton. Vivek Gore, Mendy or Leno, whom to go with? To start or to buy? I mean, I've gone Leno, so if it's wildcard and buying, I'm going Leno. Start this weekend, I'd edge for Mendy. Optimus Prime is in. Aguero, my captain, let's go. Still, I have wildcard and bench boost, so I will use also 3 players from Tottenham next game week, and then wildcard. Your opinion? My opinion is you've already got it planned, my friend. Sorry to the person who's written in a foreign language whose name I've got no chance of saying. James, I have the extra to go Cedric instead of Holding. I think he is being criminally overlooked. 4.6 attacking fullback with great next 4 fixtures. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, generally, I'm okay with that. Chances are he probably does play left back. Not going to be quite a threat from that flank that he would have been from the right flank. He obviously could potentially, depend on who's on the pitch for Arsenal, take the odd free kick, possibly even Corners possibly as well. Corners probably unlikely. Could take the odd free kick from the edge of the box possibly. I don't mind that at all, actually. Don't mind it. I think it's just a case of most of us look at it and go, I can save 0.4, and if I'm not happy with it, it's obviously easier to leave Holden on the bench. I think that's what it comes down to a lot. But if you've got confidence in Arsenal, go Cedric, mate. General Vox, Mitrovic being slept on for 5.5 million question. Excellent for Serbia. Scored against Villa. Parker made a positive comment about him. Did you want Parker to make a negative comment about him? What are you going to do in game week 33 when you go for Mitrovic? How many Spurs Man City players you got? You got 3 Spurs, then you want Mitrovic and you're carrying that to 33. And then have you got any Man City players? If you're free hitting in 33, I don't mind it. Fixtures, Wolves, Arsenal, Chelsea next 3. It's not great. It's not for me. Billy Hadaway, what about Mahrez on a 1-week punt? Notice he's not on your captaincy picks. 0 reliability on him playing. 0. Someone asked me earlier today to think start, and I was like, probably, possibly. I don't know. I think Gundogan's more one. It feels like he'll either play or he won't play, which is another reason to put him on there. And talking about players being criminally overlooked this week, I think Ilkay Gundogan, I've not seen anyone mention him in the chat yet. Why not? Why not? We're working on the assumption that because De Bruyne definitely plays, Gundogan doesn't. But then we know that Gundogan and De Bruyne are part of Man City's strongest team now. Optimus Prime, Captain Aguero or Auba? Fucking hell. By default, I'd have to say Aubameyang. Because I think Aubameyang starts and I don't think Aguero does. So Aubameyang. James Nelson, best of luck this week, James. Great pods as always this week. Best 2-week punt for striker before game week 33. I have Kane already with 9.2 million in the bank. Jamie Vardy. West Ham are looking weaker defensively at the moment. No Declan Rice, obviously no Antonio. Yes, I realise he plays up front, but you have to defend from the front as well. West Ham are really missing Ogbonna. This is what Suj keeps saying, and no one's talking about it. Look at the amount of shots that West Ham are conceding when Diop plays versus Ogbonna. So Vardy, West Brom next week. Lomba Neto, why you don't have my cousin Pedro Neto on your wild card? Because with respect, Lomba, I wish Pedro all the best. Love him as a footballer. Would love to see him at Tottenham next week. But he's playing in a team that's too negative for me. Tell Pedro that as well. Tell him come and play for Spurs. I'd love him down there. Ben O'Connell, hi James. On a wild card, would you go Bruno, Rafinha? I'd get Rafinha down Spurs as well. Rafinha on one flank and Neto on the other. Would you go... There's no point asking me who I'd go on a wild card. My team's on the screen. Would you go Bruno, Rafinha, Vidra or Vardy, Saka, Lingard? I'm trying to manipulate that for you to make that look better. What's the options there to get Vardy and Rafinha and switch them up? Is that possible? Vardy, Rafinha, Saka. Can you do that combination? I don't know if that works or not. Palm Nation on wildcard. Pick one of Alonso, Aspi, Rudiger, James. It's going to be the same one that I've done. If Aspi's affordable for you, do it. And he says I'm on Alonso and Rudiger currently. Mark Smythe, hello James. Have Jota, Son and Rafinha best replacement for Bale? Anyone. Lingard. It's boring, I know, but it's fucking blindly obvious the form he's in. Got Newcastle next week, so if it doesn't work this week, you've got another great fixture. Then you can judge it. I've got a great final 5 fixtures. I don't think it needs to be overthought. And you're putting money in your bank to spread that elsewhere up front or in defence. Reform OC, Vice Captain Kane, Fernandes or Jota could be needed if Captain KDB is bench. Well, from the screen, I'm saying Jota. But I think actually from a Vice Captaincy perspective, I would probably go Fernandes. Just the security. You don't want to be in a position where, say, neither KDB or Jota play, which I guess is a possibility. Or you end up, say, with KDB doesn't play and Jota's one-pointer if he's a sub, although he normally comes on and scores anyway. But I think for a Vice, you're more sensible going for Fernandes, to be honest. Definitely Fernandes over Kane for me this week. Daniel Garza Rayner. Hi James, who would you start from these three? Son, I don't need to read the other two, mate. Sir Cartier, do you think KDB will start? Yes. Tempted to just go with Bruno against your shitty defence. That's fine, mate. Honestly, one of the last words I said on the podcast today, one of the two podcasts, sorry if it wasn't the main podcast and it was on the Patreon podcast, one of my last words was, don't hesitate to captain Bruno this week if you want to. You crack on, mate. Andre Traore, I'll pay you £50 in Super Chat if you bring Adama Traore in your team now. Do it. I don't give a fuck about the Super Chat, mate. Tour 17, you bluffing, mate. The D production, Vardy or Salah as cat. I'm not saying that I'll never do Super Chat, by the way. I just ain't doing it. The D production, Vardy or Salah as captain. Question. Salah could be resting for Champions League. Is Chelsea defender even option? I'm captaining Salah, so that's it. It's on the screen, my friend. Tour 17 says, should I sell Gundogan? Are you buying? Camby Labacta, hey mate, any thoughts on Masaraku as a cheap defender option? Cheers, bruv. Yeah, kind of covered that off. I'm cool with that. Joe Corley, just to give you a shout out, guys. The clock's a little bit fast on the screen, by the way, but we're about, I think, 13 or 14 minutes to deadline. It's about 13 minutes. The clock is slightly fast, but don't take my word on that. Just get it locked in before 18:30. Let's call it 10 minutes, guys. Joe Corley, who would you play, Forster or Schmeichel? Tough one, that. Probably Forster. Matt Whitbroad, thoughts on a Leicester defence double up, Castagna and Fofana in particular? Yeah, I'm cool with that. I don't mind that at all. It's absolutely fine. No problem with that at all. I don't mind defensive double ups. Great 4 fixtures coming up. Sherry MC. Hi James, talk goalkeeper. Wanting Leicester Schmeichel versus Mendy. I very nearly ended up with Schmeichel myself at one point last night. I probably could have ended up with Schmeichel and Holding rather than Leno and Fofana. I think that I just have that little doubt with Mendy that, like, could Tuchel just randomly say, oh, I'm going to play Kepa against Fulham, like, just randomly when you don't need it, just to give him some minutes for some reason or something. I don't think he would, because Champions League place is too under threat. But then they weren't in the top 4 when he did it that night against Newcastle. That would really put me off. So Schmeichel. Garlic25, would you sell Antonio for Wilson on a hit? No, I don't even see where the fixtures are. I mean, you've got Burnley this week. Then it's West Ham, Liverpool, Arsenal, Leicester, Man City. You're taking a hit to get him back out next week. I'd rather get Vidra or Wood. Honestly. And it's no guarantee. I think Wilson will start for Newcastle because it's too important to them. But it's literally no guarantee that he even comes in the team. Henry Norton, who to bench? Son, Iheanacho or Lingard? That would be a Lingard for me. Hassan Jabba, bench 1. Kane, Son, Smith Rowe. Thank you in advance and cheers for Lebanon. Harry Kane, mate. Cole, my one punt on an otherwise pretty template wildcard is Greenwood. Easy to move to other options. His price range sound good. Sounds fine to me. Natasha Bajaj, good luck, James, and to all managers in the chat. You too, Natasha. Matthew Allen, hi James, what's your thoughts on Brighton Sanchez with Forster on wildcard? I covered that for someone right near the start, Matthew. I realise you probably come into the chat a bit later, but generally, if it's big for you, I'd go back and listen towards the start. Probably jump to about 3-4 minutes and then listen on, mate. Peter Peters, good morning from the US. What are the best 3 options? Leno, Rudiger, Christensen, or Mendy, Rudiger and Holding? God. Can't see Christensen playing beyond this week. I think Thiago Silva comes back in, so by default the other one. Dan Clark, I've also done the Greenwood punt in order to free up funds elsewhere. He's popular. Underground pick there, Mason Greenwood. Don't mind it at all. Decent Beggs, hey mate, how are we? I'm good, thank you. On wildcard, Shaw or Fofana? I could have got Shaw instead of Fofana. Wasn't for me. Wanted the 3 Leicester players. Tesco says, thoughts on Martinelli captain against Sheffield United. Call me mad, but I really got the feeling he's starting and holding. Well, go on then, do it, mate. Dan Clark, Spurs lose 4-0. Will Jose claim a 6-5 aggregate victory? Probably. Fucking imbecile. Hassan says, bench 1. And I'm afraid, mate, once was enough. See you, mate. Cheers. Thanks for coming. Stefan B, what do you think to Iheanacho, Jota and TA in Bamford, Gundogan and Target out from -4? Yep, don't mind that at all, mate. Even if Gundogan starts, he start against Villa, then he misses one, you'll make it up, I should imagine. Francis Logan says Maddison or Rodriguez or Mount on wildcard, playing 3-5-2, last position in midfield. Thanks, Celtic job still vacant. Yeah, I understand it's still vacant because Eddie Howe doesn't want to take the job till the summer because he's enjoying his holiday too much. Fucking hell. I mean, Maddison for me of the three, as long as you could bench him this week, wouldn't go near James Rodriguez personally. Ancelotti speaking about they have to be careful with him and stuff. Can't rely on him to stay fit, and Everton are just not doing it for me at the moment. I want him to put Richarlison back on the left and go back to 4-3-3. Just go back to 4-3-3 or play 4-2-3-1. I don't know what it is with Richarlison through the middle at the moment. I don't think it's good for Calvert-Lewin. I don't think it's good for Everton. I find their build-up progressively, it's all a bit slow. Whereas Richarlison carries the ball for them and stuff. It's because I like Richarlison. I want him to play deeper. Shano83, hi James, thoughts on Bamford to Wood? Sounds like a fucking porno. I think it's short term, isn't it? What are you doing afterwards? If you make that move this week, what are you doing next week? What are you doing afterwards when Wood's playing Manchester United? Callum says, James, my guy, I want you to join gym with me for Monday. I am gym. I don't need a gym. We will discuss FPL in gym while also doing exercise. Come please, South Wimbledon. I wait your reply. Oh, don't go south of the fucking river, mate. But thanks for the invite. T-Tac, start Rafinha or Bamford or Lookman. Bam, bam. Adam Clark, start 2. Shaw, Saka, Maddison, Holding. Ooh, that's interesting because I keep saying to bench Maddison this week, don't I? So, I'm going to say... Didn't put Saka on the benching dilemma. And that's because I'm assuming everyone would start him because we've got Sheffield United. So, I'm going to say Saka and Shaw over Holding. N Sangani 25. Sorry, pal, for butchering that. Great stream, fella. On wildcard, similar to you, you've gone Phillips over Vardy and Vardy over TAA. That issue is I'm tempted to keep Gundogan for this week and move to Son next week, but not sure about booking in a transfer. The thing is, you can keep it this week, and Gundogan might not even play. Honestly, I'll just go Son. That's my advice to everybody who's thinking of buying Son next week on wildcard. Just get him in now. Just get it over and done with. Just get him in. Oh, it's Man United. He can't return. Just get him in. Stian Bosdale's put the phone down. That's good. Well done, mate. It goes without saying, guys, I'm never going to get to your questions if you haven't asked them yet. C-Hab says, Dawson or Holding on a wild card. Let's do these really quick fire. Holding. Dosan says, start Rafinha or Lingard. Lingard. General Vox, thoughts on Bowen. Likely to play OOP. Interesting. Wouldn't pick him over Lingard. Savar says, hi James, which pairing for wildcard? Holding and Pereira or Fofana and Shaw? Fofana and Shaw if it's affordable. DJ Music Case, smash the like and subscribe, guys. Get them to 5,000 ASAP. That would be nice if we could hit 5,000 subscribers real soon. How many likes are we on? I said I'd rush through the questions, didn't I? Hit that like button, guys, if you're enjoying the stream. Udit Sharma says, Salah and Iheanacho in for Gundogan and Watkins worth of -4. Yeah, liking that. Switchbone, hi James, hope you and family are doing good. I have love-hate relationship with wildcards. Doesn't everybody, mate? Good luck. Amark, hey mate, would you start Jorginho over Neto? No. Dave Lister, captain, I think probably Kante plays for Chelsea tomorrow, in seriousness. And it's 50-50 Kovacic, Jorginho. Dave Lister, captain Danny Ings. Don't mind it. If you've got none of the 9 players above him on the captaincy list, I'd like it a lot. JK, James gone for Sterling over Son. Just cannot see Son getting anything against this fixture. I'll bring him in after the Sterling pump for the double. Good luck, boss. Good luck. John Simpson predicting another clean sheet for Burnley. Yeah, I know. It is Newcastle this week, in fairness. Adam Tessiman, another quality weird content, James. Thoughts on bench, Saka or Bamford? You know I'm going to say play Bamford. Thanks for the feedback. John Emil Stein on wildcard. Would you prioritise Rudiger or Fofana? Good question. Probably Rudiger, because I do want something Chelsea at the moment. Henry Norton, Iheanacho or Lingard to play this week? I would go Iheanacho. Big Parlour, Captain Sterling over Salah. Too risky. I'm worried. Then don't do it. I would, genuinely. Fuck it, I'd take the chance. It's always the possibility with the City players becoming more and more likely as well that if your player don't play, he doesn't even get on. It's happening more and more. It's bound to be a 1-pointer now. I've said that. Alex Mann just joined, so apologies if I'm repeating. Already moved Tierney out for TAA. Would you do Antonio to Iheanacho for -4? If not, then Rafinha comes in off the bench. I'd do it. You might not get the immediate return, but it's a transfer you're going to want to make anyway. Make it happen. Martin Boyle, would you like to do Sweet Chin music to Mourinho? No, Stone Cold Stunner. Murray Roach, Hogan versus Rock. I saw that one live at the Sky Dome. As long as Hogan's calling it by the right name, right? That must have been incredible, in fairness. Mac Wong, any thoughts on captain Aguero? We've done this one, mate. Cammy Boy Gaming, who should I captain if I don't have Vardy or Salah? Well, who have you got? Nathan Redmond. Callum Wetton. Hi, mate. Would you start Kyle in your team? Which one? Walker Peters? What's the question? Kyle Walker? Yes. James, still have bench boost. Should I hold wild card? The thing is, if the mad bench boost happens in 37 that becomes viable, then 36 before it's going to be a blank and you're not going to be able to manoeuvre it with the free hit. If it's a bench boost that's big in 35 and there's 8 teams that double, the doubles are going to be shit. You're going to be clamouring to get people in like Villa, Everton. Genuinely, strongly consider bench boost 32. I think is a really good idea. I know last week a lot of people bench boost, and generally, I know it worked out for some, but for many it really didn't. But please have a look at 32. It might just be better to look at that, honestly. Particularly if you haven't got Man City players and you're not worried about the rotation so much. Because remember, they'll play Villa after their FA Cup semi-final. And that was a problem for a lot of people last week with City players not playing. Radko says Watkins to Nacho for a -4. Yes, I'm all for that, mate. That's absolutely fine. I would say we're probably 30 seconds to a minute from deadline. The clock is about a minute or so fast. Please do get your teams locked in, guys. Matthew says, who is the best to go with out of Gundo? Already have 2 City cover. Neto, Lingard and wildcard. Lingard all day for me. Bisto, FPL mates wildcarded in Davinson Sanchez. Good for him. FPL Hitman, cheers James. Good luck with the wildcard. Dylan Farrell, lads, the answers to captaincy picks on the right side of the screen. I know. Cheers, Dylan. I love to upload. Yeah, but what? He's captain Iheanacho insane. Nothing's ever insane, mate, but there's better choices. Ritam Chowdhury, hi James, should I get Rafinha to Salah for -8? Already took -4. Hey, yeah, fuck it. If you're going to captain him, why not? Live a little. It's April. FPL Hitman, everyone hit the like button and subscribe if you would like James to Sweet Chin music. Mourinho. Dan Basley. Get Steve-O from Elite to get some clips out of this one. Dan Beasley, play Shaw or Stones. I'd play Stones and he'll either play or he won't play, right? Owen Walsh, good luck with the wild card, mate. Radko says Alonso captain. It's not for me. Oh no, hi James, do I start Saka or Dunk? I'd go Lewis Dunk probably, actually. Henry Norton, Iheanacho or Lingard this week? I'd go Iheanacho. Go with the forward. You lot will know me by now. I'm going to assume about 30 seconds or so to go to deadline. James Clark. Hey James, KDB captain or go Jota, Bruno or Kane? I think KDB's the best shout this week. I'm cool with that, mate. Just make sure you've got a Vice who's definitely going to play. Someone like a Bruno or Kane. Ali AFC, thoughts on Cody? Yeah, fine. What kind of clinched it for Cody on me was once I started looking at the combination of defenders I had, even in spite of the brilliant fixtures, looking at it going, I don't think I'm going to play this prick much, you know. And then you start looking at it going, I'll get a shit defender in because that's someone I don't want to play. Nah, that's not what I need at the moment. And that's why I ended up going without. I wouldn't say I won't go back for Cody. I think, should I get a defensive injury this week, for example, it could well be that I'd go for Connor Cody rather than, say, Masuaku in the immediate. It depends. Cody was very much in my thoughts, and he would have been the Wolves player I would have got. B. Hurlin says, hello, my friend. Just jumped in. More important question. Cup ticket obtained. Manchester City versus Tottenham. That is a good point to say, guys. I make it 6:30 p.m. UK time, and the FPL deadline for game week 31 has passed. Sorry to those who have not got through the questions. Did my best. Thank you for everybody who submitted a question and obviously interacted. Really enjoyed. I'll hang around for 10-15 minutes or so if anybody has any questions that are non FPL related, but I will skip to the bottom of the chat. And why I do so, I will tell you what's happening with my ticket for the Carabao Cup final. Unfortunately, I've got no fucking clue. We think that Tottenham and Man City are going to get 2,000 tickets each, and 4,000 are going to go to NHS key workers / local residents in the Brent, Wembley area, who ironically could turn out to be Tottenham fans. Excuse me. As you know, Wembley's not a million miles away from Tottenham. Probably not going to find any Man City fans there. But you could end up with some Arsenal fans at Wembley. That's fucking interesting, isn't it? I don't get the local resident thing personally. NHS, yeah, some reward, but then who do you choose to reward? I'm not sure how that works. You know me, I've been through this with UEFA finals, get fans in the ground. I'm obviously not saying that NHS key workers are not deserving of it. Of course they are. But then why 8,000? Why 8,000? 8,000, 90,000 stadium. So we think we're going to get 2,000. If Tottenham do it on the loyalty point system, I'm going to be very, very close. But part of the problem might be that of the 2,000 tickets, and this is what Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust are trying to work out at the moment, is where are the 2,000 tickets going to go? So if Tottenham literally get 2,000 tickets, how many are the players going to get? The players going to want their families there. It's a cup final. Are you going to have to give it to Tottenham Foundation people, to charities? How are these 2,000 tickets going to be distributed? There's obviously premium ticket holders at Tottenham and general admission. So what percentage of tickets go to premium season ticket holders versus general admission season ticket holders? I would be a general admission. I don't play fucking like $5,000 for a season ticket. That's what we don't know the answer to. If it's 2,000 general admission, which I'm beginning to think it's probably not going to be, then I'm going to be very, very close. I got into Ajax, didn't I? Legitimately, it was my ticket. I didn't tout that ticket. I didn't buy it. It's my ticket. I earned that through my loyalty points with Tottenham, through going up and down the country and across Europe. So I've got a chance. I keep having dreams of where I'm sitting at Wembley. Like I'm that far in it, and it's somewhere I've never sat in Wembley before. Behind the goal, lower tier, shit seat. But I keep visualising being in exactly the same place. But my instinct is the closest getting that I'm probably going to get shafted and not get one. But I can't complain. Listen, there's more people going to not go than go. It's disappointing. But look, if I miss the cup final and I miss whatever Tottenham's home game is at the end of the season because I don't get a ticket for that either, and then it's full capacity in August, then I'd settle for that now. Jaya says, Jota captain locked in. Best luck to all. And March says, non-FPL question, would you take Arteta instead of Mourinho? Yes. Yeah, all day long. I know it's turning with Arteta, and the thing is, you look at the stats and you see he's lost more in the 50-odd games than Emery did, and it really doesn't look great. But Arsenal have some seriously bad footballers. Like, honestly. On a whole, Arsenal probably, because of the X factor of like Kane and Son, if Aubameyang's off it, Arsenal just don't have an X factor at the moment. Someone you think is going to really power them and score them goals and win them games. I mean, was it they've won 21 under him and lost 17? It's not clever, is it? But I'm really not convinced that sacking him's the right answer. I think he knows what he's doing. Something about him bothers me, actually. In the sense that I'm quite worried of his capabilities. I think he can get them playing. I just think a lot of the players he's got are shit. Now, I know that's what a lot of people are going to say about Mourinho as well, and if that's your opinion, I accept it. Because there are a lot of people that will say that Arteta's playing negative football as well. But I think part of the negativity with Arsenal is that the attacking players have not been there. Don't forget the Liverpool game, they missed Smith Rowe and Saka, and that's their energy. So, let's see how they do with those two back in the team. But Arteta, if Arteta got sacked tomorrow, I'd pull him through the door to take over from Mourinho. I'm not trying. I said on the pod earlier in the week, 200 names I can give you I'd prefer to Mourinho. He would be one of them. Garlic25 said, good luck in your wildcard, James. Thanks for the help. You're very welcome. Ryan Walker, who do you hope gets promoted? Championship running looks exciting. Well, I'll say Norwich because I think they're coming up, and it looks like Watford are going to come as well. Preference for me would be Brentford because new fresh face. That would be the preference, but I mean, I don't particularly have one. Not bothered. I see you've got a Reading crest, and a Reading's really good away day, actually. I like it at Reading. So like the stadium, it's quite steep. Good seat anywhere on that away end at Reading, and I appreciate that. It's like I'd get rid of Palace. That fucking half a weight stand at Palace, you can't see fuck all. I'd rather have Reading in the league than Palace. Shit away. Bournemouth, I quite like Bournemouth. I like going down there. It's a nice town, nice place. I like Neil Grover, our Bournemouth correspondent. Lovely. I met some good Bournemouth people. Nice and that. But I can't get a ticket for an away game there, so fuck them off. So yeah, I would have no complaints if Reading came back either. Apex Sector, James, if Mourinho was to leave, get sacked, who would you want as a replacement? Right, I'm going to go easy on this and just make it really straightforward. And I'm going to say Brendan Rodgers. I would take Brendan Rodgers. I think he can set up a team in many different systems. I think we've seen that. Look how quickly they evolved to Harvey Barnes' injury to fix this problem. Love that. Proper coach. And I think that team needs coaching at the moment. The management can come later. I don't like Brendan Rodgers. I think he's the sort of bloke that stands in front of a mirror way too long. Probably even longer than Mourinho. But he's not outwardly as vain as Mourinho, I don't think. And I think Brendan Rodgers is a better coach than Mourinho. And if anybody disagrees with that, that's fine. Yeah, Mourinho did this, that and the other. Well, Mourinho says himself that the only reason he won trophies in the past was because he had the best players in the world and had a limitless checkbook at previous clubs. He's the one saying he can't improve the players. He's writing his own resignation, as I keep saying to people. Brendan Rodgers, I think it's a realistic target. It would have been more so, obviously, if Leicester didn't finish top 4 this season. But the people who say he wouldn't take the job, and I quite agree, why would you take the Tottenham job over the Leicester job at the moment? There's a number of reasons why you might. And the number one would be money. Tottenham will double his salary. And we never think about that sort of thing. Leicester ain't going to pay Brendan Rodgers $15 million a year. And Rodgers knows how much Mourinho's been on a year because everybody else does. What it does mean is Rodgers can negotiate himself a better contract as well than probably what Tottenham would have originally offered him. So Rodgers would earn way more money at Tottenham than he would at Leicester. You've got the stadium, you've got London. I think if Tottenham go for a manager like that, then it becomes a long-term appointment and you have to give it a proper chance. If it was a Premier League-based, British-based manager, that's what I'd want. The majority of Tottenham fans at the moment want Julian Nagelsmann, but I've heard the Juventus job might be coming up and he's under serious consideration for that. If that's the case, you'd probably imagine that he would go there, for example. There's a manager who can coach a team in a back three, by the way. But do you know what? I'm very nearly at the point of anyone. Ryan Walker says, Joe, cheers, mate. You two should be a good one for me. I've had to skip loads of the chat there. I think I probably have, haven't I? Lamici, thoughts on the Champions League quarterfinals so far and predictions for second leg? Oh, I did this for patrons, so I feel like I'm going to repeat myself. Watch the second half of City Dortmund, mainly to watch Jude Bellingham, genuinely, rather than actually watching the game. Brilliant talent. He just doesn't look 17. It's the best compliment you can give him. Didn't see a lot of the ball, did a lot of dirty stuff. Great movement off the ball. Receives on the half turn really well. Looks way beyond a 17-year-old. Kid could be a star. He'd walk in the Tottenham team tomorrow, no doubt about it. I mean, it's in the Dortmund team, isn't it? Of course he would. Didn't watch Liverpool and Madrid, but looked like same defensive errors that we've become accustomed to. I didn't watch Chelsea. It was as routine as I suspected it might be. I watched Bayern PSG. I thought it was great. To be honest, it's the first Champions League game this season I've watched all of it. Watched the whole game from start to finish. Gone, this is great. I genuinely think Bayern Munich might turn that round. I can see Munich winning like 3-1 in PSG next week. We've got a fuck ton of injuries though, Bayern. PSG have some as well, in fairness. I don't think Liverpool overturn Madrid purely. Can they? Yes. I don't think they will because I can't see them getting a clean sheet, quite frankly. Then they need 3 for extra time or 4 to win. It starts becoming tough at that point. But they can do it. They know they can do it. Madrid are not the Madrid of what we've seen over some previous years. Chelsea will go through, and I think City should be alright in Dortmund. They should be alright. But strange shit has happened to them in quarterfinals before. They've got to take it seriously. Ajaya says, don't have Salah this week, so too much. Let's skip the FPL stuff. Thanks for your comments, Ajaya. Patrick Lawson just done current UCL predictions. I think, by the way, Bayern or PSG will end up winning it. I think it will certainly come from Man City's side of the draw. Edwin Gran, I panicked and put Masuaku in because he was the only one I could afford. Masuaku good. Edwin, it's done, mate. Doesn't matter. You ain't panicked. You made that decision. It's okay. Stian says, give the people in the NHS a pay rise instead. Tickets for the final is a fucking joke. I'd be fuming if that was my reward for frontline work during a pandemic. Yeah, I'm sure they probably would prefer the money. Actually, that's a whole non-football conversation, but we can definitely be in agreement with that. Arif Echo says, hi James, which one would you like to watch? We Are Tottenham TV or Expression Oozing? No need to take it seriously, thanks. The Tottenham TV boys were right in front of... I think they were right behind me when we won 7-1 at Hull on the last day of the season. You guys might remember it because of Kane's hat-trick after he got 4 at Leicester. And I was all over that video, not because I was with them, just them flicking around and stuff. You can see me in the crowd quite a lot. Expressions is funny. He's funny. I respect the fact he does the gig by himself as well. I wouldn't watch the Tottenham TV boys. Expressions, at least, there's certain clips which are amusing and stuff, but actually like watch them properly, like for the 2-hour stream or something. Nah, fuck that. Nah. Joe Finley Badder, everyone watching Watford v Reading tonight then. I'm afraid, mate, I'm going to be watching Fulham and Wolves. Not that I particularly want to, but it's part of the job now. FPL Finding Glory, dear James, can I have your ticket, please, and thank you, the Invincible Snail. You definitely ain't having my ticket for the Carabao Cup final if I get one, if that's what you meant. Shakira Janat, Jota captain, wish me good luck. Good luck. Gaming now, I captained Raheem, the Dream, Sterlini. Okay. Jose Vargas. Hi James, thanks for the content as always. As a goalkeeper ever scored in the Premier League, must be an exciting scene for FPL as well. Yeah, not only is a goalkeeper scored in the Premier League, I've been there when it's happened, mate. I was there when I thought I'd seen it all, and then I saw Paul Robinson score for Tottenham against Watford in 2007. There's 5 goalkeepers. Who else we got? Tim Howard, Asmir Begovic, Peter Schmeichel, Brad Friedel. 5 goalkeepers who scored as goalkeepers in the Premier League. Shane083, Arteta doesn't have the cattle. Jose does, and he can't get Spurs going. Jose is outdated. That's why I call him the outdated one, mate. Got it to 5. I'm not doing about hits. Ryan, I'm not talking about FPL anymore. Dane Ahmed, imagine thinking Rodgers is better than Mourinho, laughing my arse off. Feel free to give the stream a thumbs down, my friend. FPL Hitman, going on with a WrestleMania theme. If there was an elimination battle royal between all Premier League managers, who do you think wins? Sean Dyche. I reckon Ralph Hasenhüttl might be a cheeky outside bet, maybe. Carlo Ancelotti will give you the eyebrow and you shit yourself. I'm sure Klopp can look after himself. Mourinho would definitely be first over the top, mate. To be fair, Brendan Rodgers would be as well. Yeah, Dyche. It's probably about right, isn't it? Dyche. Maybe Big Sam 20 years ago, not now, I don't think. Same applies for David Moyes as well, actually, I think. Frodo says, would you take Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Spurs? Yeah, because it's that bad. Do you know what? He probably would. I haven't written down the list of 200, but I'm not sure he would have been on it. It's interesting. We did a Patreon pod on Wednesday. We was talking about how long we think Solskjaer gets at United if he doesn't get a trophy. And you have to remember Ferguson went 4 years without a trophy originally for United, but obviously times have changed. But there's been a few things this year tactically I've been impressed with him. His teams turn up better against Manchester City than anybody. That's seriously impressive to win at the Etihad 3 games in a row. And I was so impressed with the 6-2 against Leeds, the way they set up tactically that day. That came from tactics. Really, really good. I just can't visualise United winning the league with him. I don't know if it's a prejudgment. I just can't visualise it. Apex Sector, you make a good point. I rate Rodgers highly. Didn't completely work out at Liverpool, but it wasn't a disaster. Everywhere else he's done brilliantly. Brendan Rodgers nearly won the Premier League title with Liverpool, with Simon Mignolet in goal, John Flanagan at left back, Mamadou Sakho, Martin Skrtel at centre back, and Glenn Johnson at right back. That's why they didn't win the league. Didn't have a fucking defence. Yusuf Yassin's nice team, bro. Cheers. Eric, done minus 30 by accident. Saved my arse using wildcard. Lucky I noticed. Right, let's get 5 more of these in. Where was we? Ruben says Salah Aguero for captaincy. Mate, you've missed the deadline. Patrick Lawson, sorry, I forgot to delete my message which you answered the other user. You're good, Patrick, don't worry. We still have 5 more. Ryan Walker, how far are England getting in Euros? Contenders, surely. Last 16, mate, we'll lose to the first good team that we play. But very capable of winning it, actually. Super Tiger, considering the finances spent by City to get that amazing squad, what would you realistically expect a manager to achieve with the Spurs financial situation? What Pochettino achieved? Outperforming. The thing is, it's a little bit like when you get Mourinho, I knew was coming through the door. The first podcast we did when Mourinho came in, I said we sold our soul to the devil. And I had a lot of feedback saying it's a really extreme comment. No, we sold ourselves, what we stand for as Tottenham, to try and win trophies. So you accept that's what it's going to be. This guy is going to do this. He's going to get me trophies. He's going to win me games of football. The guy can't hold on to a lead. We've blown 12 points in the second half of matches this season. It's fucking awful. That's what he's meant to be good at. Don't tell me about our defence at Tottenham shit and stuff, right? And he didn't have money to spend. David Moyes got fucking Craig Dawson on loan from Watford. Scott Parker got Joachim Anderson on loan from Lyon. Don't tell me it's about money and, you didn't spend this for Ruben Diaz. Ruben Diaz would have chose Man City anyway. So what I expect when you get the guy in the door and go and look at what Mourinho said in his first press conference. I won't change much. I've got an amazing squad. That's why I've come here. But then now those players aren't good enough and you can't improve them. Listen to the words that come out of his mouth. He says, same coach, different players, as in, well, I achieved it before because I had great players and now I haven't got great players, I can't do it. Well, them same players got to a Champions League final 2 years ago. That's the reality. This is a nonsense. And Pochettino's team was worse. Look at the midfield that played for Tottenham in the Champions League final. Winks and Sissoko. Danny Rose at left back. Come on. Seriously. Dele Alli can't even get near the Tottenham team now. Was in the team that day and wasn't fit. Seriously. Victor Wanyama playing in midfield on his own against Man City. He couldn't even run no more in the Champions League quarter-final. We still got through. So, in terms of what can be achieved with players, nah. And the most important thing is about identity. I know a lot of Tottenham fans are desperate for trophies. For me, I just want a team that every single week before the game starts, I can shout them on and get behind them. And if they lose to teams that are better than them, I'll live with that all day long. No problem. The night we lost to Everton in the Cup, we lost 5-4, and I'm not saying games have to be 5-4 to feel like that, but Tottenham were dead unlucky that night, and I didn't have a problem. We got knocked out, but I was like, that was all right. I felt better after that game, although I was very disappointed, than I'd felt after loads of games we've won. It's games we've won 1-2-0 and I'm like, turn the TV off, I don't feel nothing. I want a team that I can enjoy watching and support. And if the trophies come with it, great. If they don't, they don't. The natural evolution of the football club, because of the stadium now, is that eventually it should be a consistent top 4 performer. But I'm not silly. I realise that where Tottenham should finish is roughly 5th, 6th. But Tottenham's points total this season is unacceptable. In other seasons, we would be nowhere near 4th. It is a miracle that it's still a conversation. Tottenham have gone backwards, not gone forwards. Need to get that guy out of my club. It's just an inevitability. Whether it's in 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, we're wasting time. Absolute inevitability you'll get sacked. BH Erling, good luck with cup tickets. Enjoy the weekend. Patrick, good stuff today. James, as always, good luck. I really should cancel the stream now, shouldn't I? FPL Finding Glory, the dream. Poch wins CL with PSG, comes back to Spurs and brings his 4 favourite players with him. I don't think Pochettino coming back to Tottenham's the right answer, by the way. I really don't. I really don't think. Like, say it went badly for him at PSG, he got sacked. Say they lost to Bayern, finished second in Liga, and then he got sacked, and then the Tottenham job was available. I don't think Pochettino coming back is the right solution. Maybe in the future, when there's literally nobody at the club who was there for the first spell. But I don't, getting him back's not the answer. FPL Hitman, Jose goes and low blows everyone, isn't it? Vegard says, no, you wouldn't. Or whatever it was. Yeah, I probably would. And we'll leave it there. Thanks, guys. Sorry to those I haven't got through. But have a great game week. Content-wise, next week, what have we got for you? People's Poll Monday. I don't know what the theme's going to be yet, but I'll be very honest with you. It probably won't be FPL related. It will be more external football matters. Might even put in about some of these social media blackouts that are happening, possibly as a conversation subject. But the vote will go on Twitter on Sunday. Tuesday will be main podcast. We'll review all the weekend action. Wednesday will be Sky Fantasy Football. Thursday's clash of correspondences, Wolves versus Sheffield United, with Bradley Parker and Ben Tomo Thompson. We're going to be talking quite a lot about what's happening with some of the ownership there. I'm not going to bore you shitless and do half hour to 45 minutes on FPL assets, particularly on Sheffield United. No one's going to waste your time. We talk about what's actually happening at those clubs. There's strong rumours that Wolves aren't going to be spending money this summer, and some of the big players might be up for sale. And obviously Chris Wilder saying when a big payoff to resign. Looks like he was trying to resign long before the whole mutual consent thing happened. So we'll be speaking to Bradley and Tomo about their clubs and what's going on there. Friday morning, I'm doing a special with our Tottenham correspondent Ricky Saunders ahead of Tottenham's double game week. I don't know quite what it's going to look like yet, but Ricky will obviously come with his opinions, which may be different to mine. So it gives you a different perspective on Tottenham ahead of the double. There will be a bit of FPL, there will be a bit of Mourinho, there will be a little bit of ownership, there will be a little bit of probably previewing the Carabao Cup final as well. 5 additional podcasts on Patreon from intermediate tier. You can support the podcast on Patreon for £3 a month. If you think, Jesus, I'd like to buy that guy a pint every month, jump on Patreon, join the Slack channel, £3 a month. That will also get you access to my Ask James stream on Wednesday, which is going to be Patreon only next week. 5 additional podcasts from the intermediate tier. Monday we have a Q&A, Tuesday Tottenham, Thursday be a quiz, Friday will be our game week 32 preview, and there are daily articles and videos done by me at advanced tier as well. If you want to support the content, Patreon is the very best way to do it. We will not make you better FPL managers. It might help, but you're doing it to support the content. We'd love to have you on board. Join our community. We're growing, coming towards a community of around 400 now. Slack channel is the bollocks. Brilliant community we've grown. Anyway, I'll leave you to it. Enjoy the weekend. I've nattered enough. Good luck. Hope those arrows are green, particularly for wildcarders. Very best of luck. Remember, a bit like Christmas though, it's not just for one day. Ciao for now.